Ever finish a book and just need to talk about it? Welcome to Book Labs, the show that takes a deep dive into your favorite books, usually in 10 minutes or less. Whether it's a literary masterpiece, a guilty pleasure, or a hidden gem, we break it down, explore what makes it great, and maybe even change how you see it. So grab that first cup of coffee and let's get into it. Welcome to Book Labs.
All right, so today we're diving deep into Cal Newport's deep work.
Oh, a classic. Love that book.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's especially relevant now, with all the distractions and everything pulling at our attention.
Well, for sure. Constant role.
So for our listeners, we're going to break down why Newport calls deep work a superpower, how to actually, make it happen in our lives, and even tackle some of those criticisms and challenges that come up because, let's be real, it's not always easy.
Definitely not, but the rewards can be huge.
Totally. Okay, so first things first, how does Newport actually define deep work?
Well, he contrasts it with what he calls shallow work. Think email, meetings, all those things that keep us busy but don't necessarily lead to meaningful results.
Yeah, like checking social media every 5 minutes, guilty as charged.
Haha, we've all been there. But deep work is about focusing without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks. It's about those activities that push our skills to the limit and create real value.
So it's more than just productivity, right? It's about producing higher quality work.
Absolutely. And mastering complex skills, even achieving a sense of fulfillment.
He gives those great examples of people who've used deep work to achieve incredible things. Right?
Oh, yeah, like Carl Jung, he built a secluded tower just to write without distractions.
Right, away from everyone. And Bill Gates, he's famous for his Think Weeks, where he basically isolates himself to focus on strategy.
Exactly. No distractions allowed. And it clearly worked for him.
It makes you wonder what we could accomplish if we had that kind of dedicated focus. But, is there actually, scientific evidence that focusing deeply changes our brains?
Oh, there totally is. When we engage in deep work, we're training our minds to concentrate for longer periods, which strengthens our focus, improves memory, even enhances our cognitive abilities.
This is like a mental workout.
Basically. But on the flip side, multitasking, which we all do, actually harms our productivity.
Oh, tell me about it. I feel like I'm always multitasking.
It's tempting, but every time we switch between tasks, there's this thing called attention residue that lingers.
Attention residue. What's that?
So basically, it takes time for your brain to refocus every time you switch tasks. Studies say it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully refocus after an interruption.
Wow, 23 minutes.
Yeah, so if you're constantly switching between things, you're losing a lot of time.
Okay, that's a serious reality check. So how do we actually start cultivating this deep work superpower? Where do we even begin?
Well, Newport has these 4 rules. They're a great framework for integrating deep work into our lives.
Okay, lay 'em on me.
The first is work deeply, which is all about creating an environment that supports deep work.
So, turning off notifications.
Exactly. Scheduling dedicated blocks of time, establishing rituals that signal the start of a deep work session, minimizing distractions, all that good stuff.
I've tried time blocking before, and it does help. But, okay, what about the second rule? He says, embrace boredom. Isn't the whole point of deep work to be fully engaged? I don't get how boredom fits in.
Right. Seems counterintuitive, but being able to tolerate boredom is actually super important for developing focus.
Explain that one.
Our brains crave novelty and stimulation. We're wired that way. But by constantly giving in to those urges, we weaken our ability to concentrate.
So by resisting the urge to check our phones or whatever, we're actually training our minds to stay focused.
Exactly. It's like building mental endurance.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's rule number 3?
Quit social media.
Oof, that's a tough one. I use social media for work. Quitting entirely isn't really an option for me.
Yeah, I get it. He's not saying everyone needs to go cold turkey. It's more about being intentional. He talks about the any benefit approach where we just mindlessly scroll because there might be something interesting, the craftsman approach, being more selective about the tools we use and how they support our goals. Do you really need every single social media app?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Okay, I see the difference. So what's the last rule?
Drain the shallows. It's about prioritizing deep work by minimizing or outsourcing those shallow tasks that eat away at our time and energy.
Like all those little to-dos that add up.
Yep. Maybe batch them together, delegate if you can, or just get comfortable saying no to things that don't align with your goals.
Saying no is definitely something I need to practice. So those are the 4 rules, but I'm curious, how have you personally made deep work a part of your life? What's worked for you?
Well, time blocking's been a huge help for me. But honestly, the biggest thing has been learning the importance of downtime. Sometimes stepping away from a problem and letting my mind wander is when the best ideas come.
Right. Sometimes I feel like I need to force myself to take breaks,
Yeah.
but it does help. But I'm also wondering, is deep work realistic for everyone? What about jobs that require a lot of collaboration or people who feel like they need to be always on?
It's a good point. Deep work doesn't have to mean total isolation. It's about finding those pockets of focused time, even if they're short. Setting boundaries, being deliberate about how you manage your attention.
Finding that balance. And while deep work has so many benefits, are there any downsides we should be aware of?
Well, anything can be taken too far, right? Like if you become too obsessed with focus, you could risk burnout
Yeah, I can see that.
or neglect relationships. It's about finding that healthy balance. You don't want to sacrifice your well-being or connections with others.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into deep work, what's the main takeaway you want listeners to walk away with?
Deep work isn't just about productivity. It's about being intentional with how we live our lives. When we control our attention, we choose what we value.
That's a great way to put it. So for everyone listening, what could you achieve if you dedicated more time to deep work? Maybe it's finally tackling that project you've been putting off, or mastering a new skill, or just experiencing the satisfaction of truly focused work. And if you're intrigued by these ideas, definitely check out Cal Newport's book, Deep Work. It's full of great insights.
It really is.
And who knows, it might just change the way you work and live.
For the better.
And that's a wrap on this week's Deep Dive. Got a book you love and want us to explore? Let us know. Your book could be next. Don't forget to subscribe and smash the like if you enjoy the show, and share with your fellow book lovers. Until next time, keep reading, keep thinking, and we'll see you in the next chapter.